So you're Robin, Kieran, you?
Yeah.
And you're Batman?
Batman and Robin, also known as Jordan and Ashley Thomas, both contracted measles in the Swansea outbreak. Both were very ill and both were unvaccinated.
It was horrible. If I ate something, I felt like I was going to go ill. I was waking up, I was dizzy. I couldn't stand up for like more than 5 seconds. My legs were feeling weak, shaking.
Well, I was quite scared because some people got measles and we can go deaf, blind.
Their parents now feel guilty because, like many others, their kids were unvaccinated because of the scare stories about autism.
We felt ashamed of ourselves at the time, basically, because if they had the MMR jab, the vaccine, they wouldn't have contracted measles, and they would have been fine. And we feel, looking at them, we felt guilty.
The outbreak started in November last year with 34 cases. By March, that had risen to 288. Last week, the total reached 808 cases, and today, 78 new cases were announced, bringing the total to 886.
Every GP surgery now is offering ad hoc MMR jabs. You want an MMR jab, you have your jab there and then, basically. There's certainly been a raising of the level of concern since the reported death last week, certainly, because but the fact is we still remain in the grips of a major measles epidemic here in Swansea.
That 10% increase in the last week is despite emergency vaccinations being given at drop-in centres and GP surgeries. In the last week, more than 10,000 MMR jabs have been given across Wales, but public health doctors warn there's no end to the outbreak yet in sight.
So 10,000 more people getting their children vaccinated in the last week. But it takes some time to work, doesn't it?
It does. It takes about 10 days for the MMR jab to give you protection against measles. So you might not have expected the epidemic to be over yet, and it certainly isn't, despite the strenuous measures that they've taken in Wales. In Swansea itself, for example, they estimated there were about 6,000 unvaccinated or under-vaccinated under 18s before the outbreak began. Now they've vaccinated about 4,000 of those, and yet the epidemic still continues. And I think that raises the question of, are there implications beyond the borders of Wales? What should we be doing here in England? Later this week, on Thursday, Public Health England will be publishing the figures for how many measles cases there have been in the first quarter of the year. And we understand that at the same time, they'll be announcing a national initiative to catch up these 10 to 18-year-olds who missed out on the vaccination because of the scare stories. And that'll be a real test of NHS reorganisation, because for the first time, local authorities now have a responsibility for public health, and we'll see how that works.